The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericaempowerment.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Living Well with Ann Beal. Our show is a health show, a lifestyle show, and an empowerment show rolled into one. Get ready to hear some stories of success, healthy living tips, and suggestions to get motivated and live your best life. Now, here is your host, Ann Beal.
Hello, friends. Welcome to A Little Taste of Heaven. We have a woman on today that has the cutest shop, the most wonderful shop, grocery store, feed store, farmer's market, anything else?
Lawn and garden.
Lawn and garden. In fact, at Halloween, it's got pumpkins everywhere.
Pumpkins, yeah.
Thanksgiving, it's got, and when you pass by with all the flowers and all the plants, you can tell why I would have her on Living Well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And you know I'm into natural food. So she has lots and lots of natural fruits and vegetables and all other kinds of food there that she sells. So if you're in Haslet, Texas, and you want to find this little taste of heaven, I encourage you to go by Haslet Feed and Farmers Market. And so Annette Lee also has another shop in North Richland Hills.
Yes, North Richland Hills Farmers Market.
And it's a farmer's market.
Yeah,
That's right. I've been there too. I love that. We got our firewood there.
Right.
We get lots of natural herbs. And now, are the shops the same?
They're similar in the stuff that we bring in as far as, the fruits and vegetables and the grocery items. But they're a little different. North Richland Hills, of course, we don't have the feed and the hay and things that we offer here in Haslet. But on the other side of that, we have a larger outdoor lawn and garden area in North Richland Hills. So we have quite a few more plants and pottery and lots of cute, kitschy yard and home things that we have there too.
And that one is located on Roof Snow and... No, it's not on Roof Snow. Where is it?
It's 7700 Davis Boulevard.
Davis.
In North Richland Hills.
How did I miss that? Did you move?
No, there is a farmer's market on Roof Snow owned by one of my friends, and it's kind of like Davis and Roof Snow run parallel.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, you're right. I got it. Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's small.
It's a little bit
That's
small.
a little small. Yeah. And so we love the idea of farmers markets. I talk all the time about pay the farmer to keep you healthy versus paying the doctor to get you healthy.
I totally agree. There's certain things that are produced when you service and use a small farm. You're helping your community. You're helping the small farms. When you get that or you go to pick that out, you're getting out of the house, you're getting exercise, you're taking your family out, and you're getting that idea of nostalgia when you go to get a watermelon in the summer that you're going to take to a friend's house to share. There's all that goodness and happiness that's associated with that. Well, before that happens, a farmer's growing it. They're using their land. That a lot of these farmers, we specifically buy a lot of watermelons from a farmer and his family that have been farming for over 100 years in Boyd. And we've been buying cantaloupes and watermelons from them for 15 years. So you're helping someone else by just getting up and say, hey, let's get some fresh watermelon today. So there's a lot of healthy things that go on just besides eating that watermelon that you don't even have. It's so far-reaching.
Well, and I know that you're that way with farmers because
Right.
I came to you and we had a ranch that we just got rid of. And I was telling you about our figs, and I was like, we have so many figs. We have thousands of figs.
Yeah.
And you're like, you have figs? You have fresh figs? I'll buy those figs from
Absolutely.
you. I'm like, awesome. So you don't get much figs.
No, we don't. Actually, a lot of people don't actually, farmers just grow figs. It might be one of the things that they grow on their farm, but actually a lot of my local figs come from folks that have planted these fig trees in the backyard because their grandmother used to have one, but they didn't realize that when they were little, that fig tree can get 35 to 40 feet in the air, and there's more figs and more birds than you can eat. So I have 2 or 3 ladies in North Richland Hills that bring me every year, and we trade out plants. Sometimes we trade out produce, or if they were looking at a really nice pot, I'll just run a tally, and by the time they've brought me figs over the harvest time, they've paid for the pots that they wanted for their house. So,
well, and figs, we did the same thing. Like, we planted 3.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We had no idea. Like, we lost 2 because of the winter freeze, and we didn't cover them very well. But that third one that lived, it's like probably about 25 feet high, 15 feet wide. I never had any. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so glad all 3 did not live.
Can you even imagine how many figs you would have?
No. And so we learned that, we get out, we want to farm, we want to ranch. So we plant 8 apple trees. Like, we'll plant every different kind of apple tree, and we'll plant every different kind of peach tree and apricot tree and pecan trees. We had so much, right? And so it was exciting, but after the first, like when the peaches first came in the first year, my kids were like, okay, we don't like farming anymore because you have to do them all in the same weekend. But so there are a lot of farms out here, and even small farms, people that have a few acres. And so they love your shop and coming there.
Right.
And, of course, North Richland Hills, because there are some farms still in North Richland Hills, but most of it is suburb.
Yeah, it's suburb. And it's creeping everywhere, especially here. I've been here in Haslet for 1 year. We had our 1-year anniversary in October.
Congratulations.
And it is doing well. And with the community support, I just couldn't be happier. But just seeing the growth in 1 year, and I try not to think about how fast things grow, but I know within 5 years it's going to be a whole other animal. But
yes,
I'm excited about that.
They say Haslet is the fastest growing. Some say the fastest growing town in America. Some say the second fastest growing town in America.
And I don't doubt it.
Oh, it's just growing like crazy. And when you look at the town, and you come upon your shop, I have been to so many feed stores in my life. And I grew up with an aunt that had a farm. Right. We were always going to the feed store. I have never seen such a beautiful place. When you come upon your store with all your plants and all your greenery and all your flowers and all the fruit, just outside, it's very inviting.
It really is, you shop with your eyes, no matter where you go, whether it's buying a pair of shoes or whether it's picking out an apple in the farmer's market, you're going to get the very biggest, the very most beautiful color. And when people see that, it makes them want to stop. And, it really does. And
you're a marketing genius that you did that. Because I pulled over and I was like, you took it over. And when I saw what you did, I pulled over, I went in and went, oh my gosh, this is going to be big. Yeah. And there have been a lot of people here. And I even said that there have been a lot of people that have been in this building since we've lived here, and yours is phenomenal. It's everything that I wanted with the fresh eggs, and it's people really are looking for the free range eggs, fresh eggs that have the really beautiful dark, just yellow yolks, kind of orangish yolks. Right. So it shows they're not chemical, they're nothing put in there.
And it's buying things that are local. You don't know how long that the shelf life of an egg, for instance, when you buy it from a box store. Not saying that I wouldn't eat, and I would if I had to, but it's nice to have small children and grow up and have them eating the things that are making them healthier and making them happier. And there's small families in this community that have a lot of small children, and they rely on good, clean, healthy eating. And I hope that I can give that to them in the community. Yeah.
Now, you've had your store in North Richland Hills for a long time.
14 years.
14 years. How did you get into that?
Actually, I worked for a large medical group in the DFW area for 11 years. And I was kind of at that point. My son was a freshman in high school. And you're either at that point where you're going to go back to school or you're going to venture into another line of work because, you kind of get stagnant in what you're doing. And so I decided that I was going to take some time off and, travel with my son, during the Christmas holidays. And I was going to make my decision after that. And a friend of mine just bought a farmer's market in Hurst. And she goes, you're going part-time. You're going to go crazy sitting at home. My husband just bought this farmer's market in Hurst, and he needs someone to help him run it because he works full-time. Why don't you help him out through the spring and summer? Because you're creative. You love to be outside. You love plants. You love all this stuff. So why don't you help him? So I decided to go for it, and help him for the summer. I fell in love with the guy that he bought the store from. Had been in the farmer's market business since he was 13 years old in Dumas, Texas.
Dumas.
And he, more or less, I mentored with him all summer long. He taught me where to go to get the produce, who to talk to, what farmers had the best stuff. And I just kind of tagged along with him all summer long. Here I am trucking down to Dallas Farmers Market with this man I'd never met before, and he was going to show me how to help this gentleman run this business. And I just, like I said, after that summer, I fell in love with it, and I told my husband, that's what I want to do. That's what I really want to do. And my husband was a grocery store manager for over 30 years, and he had retired from that, and he says, I think we could probably really do it. And we had the opportunity to buy North Richland Hills from the owner, because I had met him through the guy at Hearst. And we bought the store in 2002. And it took a few months to get everything going and remodel the things that we wanted to do inside. And ever since then, we've never looked back. And my husband quit his job. I quit my job. You cash in some savings. You cash in some 401k money. And you just go for it. And I've never looked back.
Was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of fear that goes with, all the money that you've worked for, over many years and all your savings. But, reinvesting in yourself and reinvesting in your family, it's been the most wonderful thing we've ever done. And then, again, this opportunity came last year to buy this store in Haslet. And I thought, well, do we really need to have two? Can we make that work? And, of course, a lot of prayer goes into that, too. And my son graduated from UNT with a logistics degree. And instead of taking a job in the corporate world, he decided to continue working with the family business. And he manages the North Richland Hills store.
Really? Your son?
My son.
Isn't that awesome?
It is absolutely awesome. Not many people get the opportunity to watch their child grow up, go to college, be successful in that, and then full circle come back to work with you. That is a blessing.
Well, and logistics.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
how helpful is that?
Oh, a business logistics degree is awesome.
Yeah, I know.
If you kids out there, if you're wondering what your kids can major in, business logistics, a degree from UNT is the way to go.
That's good to tell people.
It
You're
really
right.
is.
It really is helpful. That store is a phenomenal store.
Yeah.
And I know that you've incorporated most of those things here, but then you've added things here.
I have added things here. I believe that what you put in the ground gives back to you. So I'm an organic farmer. Whatever I grow organically. I am not opposed to using, weed control, because nobody likes weeds or fire ants. So those are the two things that I'm off of. But other than that, everything else that I grow personally or that I recommend that people grow or use is organic.
And more people are looking for vegetables and fruit that don't have toxins.
No.
And it's hard. I mean, now if I'm at the grocery store, I'm hesitant to buy anything there unless it's organic. But it's so expensive to go buy organic at the grocery store. I mean, like an organic cucumber is like $2.
Right.
And so it is so expensive that it's so wonderful when you go to the farmer's market. And you, especially at your store, and you have marked everything that's organic, and most everything in there is, if you can't find it.
If you can't find it. And, and the seasonality of stuff, too. I mean, no, I don't have mangoes right now because they're not in season. And, we use sustainable farming methods with our farmers and stuff that we use. So if it's not in season, we don't want to force it.
Well, honestly, it's not good for you to eat things out of season. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that if you eat with the seasons, that's how you stay well.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we always try to let you know, that if you go by what the farmers have available in your area, then you're eating with the seasons.
Yeah, like right now I'm eating a lot of kale, and I can't wait till peaches and watermelon come back.
A lot of people are getting tired of kale.
Tired of kale.
Yeah, now you can do a lot with kale. You can mix in apples and lemon and all that stuff. But I think that when you talk about what you decided to do, that's very brave, and that's one of the things we really encourage people to follow their passion. Now, part of it, the reality is you had the money to get started.
Yeah, we did. And like I said, and then you've got to think about, too, okay, well, what are you going to do when that money runs out?
Exactly.
So, being very frugal and not living above your means and trying to reinvest in your business, making it profitable, making things work. And over the years, those have been some of the things that we've had to work with. I'm not opposed to using a bank, because once you establish yourself as a business, your banker becomes one of your very best assets.
Yes.
And that has been the case with us, too. We've been very blessed and very fortunate to be able to align ourselves with some of the most wonderful people who have helped us to build our business, and that's with the banks and, of course, with our church family and things like that. We have been able to do what a lot of people just, they go, well, how did you do it? one day at a time.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. It's not something I don't look 5 years down the road, because I have no way of knowing what's going to come 5 years from now. But I know today, right here, right now, is what we have to offer, and this is we do our very best every day.
Now, did you have the typical business plan, strategy plan, all that long term? Because there are people that, I've had people say, do you have a business plan? Do you have a strategic plan? And I'm like, I did, like I'm going in my head, right? But there, it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that, you did it you guys had a lot of background because you were in business for 10 years. And I do let people know, following your dreams, we want you to do that.
Absolutely.
You may have to get a job that you're not as happy with, maybe, or you don't even know. You just get it. You get some income for 10 years, put it aside so that you can live your dreams. Because living your dreams, the way that you do that is, yes, living not above your means, living frugally. It doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you keep.
Exactly.
And so I had, like the lady I had on with the Papa Snowballs, the snow cone stand.
Yeah.
The more I talked to her, and I could not believe all the money she had, all the money she put aside, that she travels around the world. I'm like, how? Well, She was a bookkeeper first, and she knew how to manage her books so well, and how to price everything, and how to make some extra money by coming up with recipes that she could sell.
Exactly.
I mean, talk about genius. I'm like, I had no idea you could make that from a snow cone stand. But she had the business background, and she was a good bookkeeper to manage her money.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you guys too.
Well, and my husband, like I said, with having management experience in the grocery business for that, he started working in the grocery store when he was 16. And then he retired from that. And then his next job was he worked in a car dealership, and he was the finance manager. So, that all kind of plays in. And we giggle about it sometimes. Everything I did in my previous life set me up for the success and for failure, because you do fail sometimes too.
Well, and people, they laugh because I was an engineer, and they're like, "What?" I was a math major, and they're like, "What?" And so one of the things I love people to hear is most people don't follow this. Because ninth graders are told they need to know what they want to do, right? Oh. And I was like, most people don't. And so, but it does all build. Right. I mean, I use that information all the time. And math, I mean, you do use it. You don't even realize. Kids today, I don't need math. I'm like, oh my gosh, you'll see you need math. Yeah, and so that's really wonderful. So we're going to take a break. Before we do, I just want to do a shout out real quickly to Sunshine Herbs, one of our sponsors in Saginaw, Texas on Main Street on Business 287. He has all your supplement needs. Dr. Tiller is a naturopathic doctor, and he owns that store. And so if you're in Saginaw, stop by there and pick up some supplements. Talk to them. The staff, they're just incredible. They know their products very well. And they have this incredible water that you can buy. We buy it for our office, the big 5 gallons for everyone. And even things for your pets, organic. You have stuff for organic too, and grain-free. I don't know if they have grain-free, but it is a wonderful shop. So if you get by there, please stop and say hi. And you guys, we'll see you right back after break with Living Well.
Life Solutions Coaching and Counseling in Fort Worth, Texas is a full-service wellness clinic providing individual, group, and family counseling, one-on-one coaching for life and wellness, and naturopathic treatments of medical massage therapy combined with essential oils to ensure you reach your health and wellness goals. Sessions are available in person or by phone. Get started on your new life today. Just call 817-232-1363 or go to LifeSolutionsCoachingandCounseling.com or email them at LifeSolutionsCC@yahoo.com.
It's time to do all of those things that you always said you'd do in your life. What's stopping you? Is it other people, your environment, fear? What could give you a push? Tune in to Raising the Bar with Amy Brado. Our show is all about taking risks and turning them into positives and personal gain. We'll help your inner voice speak up and get you out of that comfort zone. Raising the Bar can be heard live every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
When you see someone, are you seeing the person or the perception? We see labels such as fat, thin, black, white, rich, poor, but we don't always see the true identity. Listen for New Dimensions with Reverend Nicholas Barrett. On this program, we'll embrace the breaking down of societal paradigms, our norms, and acceptance of our false selves. You can find your identity the way that God intended. Forget all the labels that you think you see. Tune in every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Voice America Empowerment.
You are listening to Living Well with Ann Beal. We'd love to hear from you with comments and questions about the show. Please send us an email to ablivingwell@gmail.com. That's ablivingwell@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's show.
Welcome back. I'm Ann Beal, and I have a guest today, Annette Lee from Haslet Feed and Farmers Market. She is letting us know about all the wonderful fruit and vegetables, organic, that she's an organic farmer, that she loves growing the food, the groceries, and that they have the fresh eggs there. And so we really try to encourage you to buy from farmers, buy local. And then, of course, try to buy organic. Now, I just want to say a little bit about that, and I'm glad you're on, Annette, because you can help us.
Okay.
I personally don't worry if someone doesn't buy organic if it has a peel on it.
Right.
But do you feel the same way too? Like if it's a avocado, they can peel it.
Right. And, things that take in a lot of moisture, like through their flesh, like strawberries, try to find organic. Peaches, try to find things that could be sprayed. But if you can peel it, then don't worry about it.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
not.
said.
Yeah, and it's not as because the peel protects it, and so bananas, they're fine. If it, it's our naturopathic doctor, he would soak all his fruits and vegetables if they weren't organic in apple cider vinegar, I think.
Yeah, vinegar solution for, I think, an hour or something like that. They do have some commercial sprays that are on the market, but all it is vinegar and water. So
it's vinegar and water. So you put water in it, too. Is it vinegar or is it apple cider vinegar?
Apple cider vinegar.
Yes, and I thought, well, I wonder how that tastes. And he goes, you don't taste it.
You don't taste it.
And what it does is it gets out all the toxins.
Yeah.
So our suggestion would be if you can't afford organic or you can't find organic and it doesn't have a peel, then soak it in apple cider vinegar and water. Would you say half and half?
I would do like a 10-to-1, kind of like you would with a bleach solution. Because the acidity, you don't need that much.
And apple cider vinegar is strong, so maybe 2 tablespoons to like 8 ounces or something.
Of water,
yeah. So that would be good, and then it'll get the toxins out for you. And Annette is, we just call her shop a little taste of heaven here in Haslet, which is right north of Fort Worth. It's not very far, like 20 minutes. And so it's a suburb of Fort Worth, basically, and we're in the Metroplex. But when you see her store, it's just beautiful. And so in the last segment, we talked all about her store. I didn't mention the essential oils that you have there. Right. You have essential oils, and you have free-range meat there.
Yes, we have grass-fed beef. There's no hormones or antibiotics. And also, it's actually raised in Milford, Texas. And also we have Franz Fryer's chicken, same thing, no hormones, no added antibiotics or anything. And when we call for an order, we have to call a week and a half in advance because they slaughter to order. So it is the freshest chicken that you can get, and the beef is phenomenal. And
I had some duck bacon the other day.
Duck bacon. How can you go wrong? Anything that has bacon on the end of it, you could take shoe bacon. That would be good.
And I had heard that duck wasn't very good, right? And so Valerie's like, oh, I love that duck bacon. You should try the duck bacon. Yeah. And Valerie's one of your great workers.
Yeah, Valerie's one of my awesome girls.
She is. So I said, really? And so
Dynamite comes in small packages, and that is Valerie.
She's a dynamite. She is.
She's dynamite.
She loves that duck bacon. She always says, oh, I love this, and I love that. And so I try it. So we tried the duck bacon. Yeah. It was incredibly tasty. I was very surprised. And my kids tried it. Yeah. And they were, they're
it's just
grown,
a little different.
So.
It's a lot better than, or to me, better tasting than like turkey bacon, because turkey bacon tastes like cardboard to me. But, if you're trying to watch your sodium intake and trying to eat things that are a little better for you, I wouldn't say that bacon as a whole is a better food than another bacon, but, it's kind of a quirky thing to try.
It's healthier.
Yeah.
Healthier. Duck bacon's healthier. But also, you can try other ones because you have other ones too.
Yeah, we have an uncured bacon as well, so that's always good. And then,
now, do you know why? Because my husband has he tries to get uncured because he tries to stay away with the Timbab foods, which is processed.
Processed.
Yes.
You want to try to just stay away from foods that have been processed or that have more than 5 ingredients. Also, you want to watch your sodium intake and your sugar intake in processed foods. And bacon has all those, sugar and salt. So
when you get them at the grocery store, yes. And so that is why I suggest if you can get, free-range meat or go to your local farmer and get regular bacon. or uncured. Because even then, because they cure it with sugar, right?
Yeah, but they don't use the salt or the nitrates that they use.
Right, so it is healthier. If you don't want the sugar, then you can get it uncured.
Right.
And so that's right. It's not salt that they cure it with; it's sugar.
Sure.
Yes. So that's why it's so tasty.
Yeah.
But uncured is really good too.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
we were at some friends, and they had uncured jaws.
Yeah.
Which are what?
Pig cheeks.
Big cheeks of
The pig. It's
of
the
the
pig's,
pig.
It's the pig's cheeks.
I was like, what are they? He goes, it's jowls.
Jowls.
I was like, you guys, you Texas people, you come up with such cool stuff.
Hey, no meat left behind.
No meat left behind. And so we want to suggest that you guys find that. And those are really good, helpful things.
Right.
And I know that your staff, which just blows me away, and I was asking you questions on break about your staff, and you're a master gardener. I did not know that.
Yes, I've been a Tarrant County Master Gardener since 2007. Tarrant County is the number 2 volunteer Master Gardener Association in the state. As far as members, we have over 400 members, and I believe, and don't quote me on this, but over 11,000 hours last year for the county of Tarrant County. So if you see someone with a little blue badge, pat them on the back and thank them for what they do for Tarrant County, because they really do a lot of work. When you see these beautiful botanical gardens and school gardens and all the places around the county that we're real proud of, it's because master gardeners put in a lot of hours.
And that's landscaping. Explain what a master gardener is. It's not easy to get.
It's not. It's almost a year training. They're trying to get that compartmentalized so that people can do modules online and take less time doing that. But it takes over a year. You go to class for 3 months, 2 days a week, and then you have to serve so many hours in so many different areas of gardening. Like I said, there's like 27 different projects in the county that you'll go and volunteer. So you're learning how to propagate, cultivate, weed, fertilize, planting. So there's so many different genres of gardening that the master gardeners specialize in. Some people, like me, I started wanting to learn more about roses and perennials. And I ended up specializing in vegetables. Who knew?
Yeah,
So,
who knew? And
know.
vegetables is very important because, like, my friend P. Allen Smith, who has the TV show, he came to Dallas area, and so he was at Callaway's, and of course, I was there, and I could not believe all the people that came,
absolutely.
and they all were like master gardeners. It was crazy, all the people and the questions they were asking.
And it's the education that's key.
Yeah,
It's
and the
really-
tomatoes, because they talked about, I'm getting beautiful plants, but I'm not getting any tomatoes. And he's like, oh, you just need to up, like when you read the bag, he was explaining, right?
Yeah.
Well, and they all understood. So I asked him after, I said, can you put it in Ann terms? And he goes, okay, well, Ann, when you look at the bag, you'll see 3 different ingredients,
Right.
3 different, and it's the middle one needs to be the highest. And I was like, okay, thank you. Then you'll get tomatoes.
Then you get tomatoes, yeah.
And so what is that? Which
Potassium.
Potassium,
Yeah.
yes. And so knowing stuff like that, I mean, you can get beautiful green plants
Absolutely.
with no tomatoes.
No tomatoes. And, and being in Haslet and being this Dallas Fort Worth area, if you don't know it, you live in a wind tunnel. The wind blows all the time. And so with tender plants like tomatoes, the blossoms will fall off of them. So yes, you're doing all the right things. You're watering, you're fertilizing, you're keeping them covered in the spring. And the blossoms are dropping off.
Right.
Well, that wind's just pulling them off. So if you can protect your tender plants from the wind with frost cloth or shade cloth, that'll help you with your production of tomatoes later in the season.
See, and that's good to
simple.
know.
Simple.
Yeah, and I didn't realize, like, we had plum trees,
Yeah.
and the weather, I mean, that was the one tree that we hardly got any fruit from because the weather would blow them all off. And so I said that to Alan, and he was like, no, you need to use the landscape, use the fertilizer. They was telling me all this stuff, and they won't be so fragile and fall off.
Right.
Sure enough. I'm like, what?
Yeah, a healthy plant will always be a stronger plant and always produce. And to me, it all starts with soil. Working your soil and amending your soil and having some good organic soil. And if you put a plant in there, it will grow.
And our soil here can be tough.
Yeah.
And so that's part of why they have the raised gardens. And so a master gardener knows so much. And you have more than just you as a master gardener there.
Yes, I have at my Haslet location, I have a master nursery professional. We're also, both locations are Texas Landscape and Nursery Association members, TNLA. You probably hear that when you hear about the home shows and stuff like that, that they're TNLA members. What that gives me is information. I have so much information that I can give when you have a question. If I don't have the answer, I have the ability to get the answer. So there's a lot of databases through Texas A&M and through AgriLife and through the Master Gardener Association and TNLA that helps us to be very good purveyors of information and to help you be a successful Texas gardener.
And you have a professional arborist.
Yes, I have a professional arborist, and most of the folks that work for me are retired from, like I said, they did something else in their previous life.
Amazing.
And, you know, Paul, he was in the Army. He's done just a little bit of everything throughout his life, and he's fascinated. He has a horticulture degree, and he's getting ready to certify as a certified arborist. And he can look at bark on trees and look at the leaves and really just all the little nuances that when you're driving by you don't see. He sees out of the corner of his eyes. He can detect disease. And for a lot of years, I've had people just bring me bags of leaves and go, "Hey, do you know what this is?"
Right, that's what I do.
Yeah. Look, hey, we've got the answers for you. I have the professionals,
That's
and we
me.
do have the answers
What
for
happened?
you. What happened to this?
We had a red oak that just wouldn't grow.
Yeah.
It was so everybody around us had these giant red oaks. I'm like, and it was not enough zinc or something in the soil.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's amazing what you know.
Yeah.
And so it's always so helpful to have that. But in the other misnomers, people think because they have a small yard that they can't have a garden.
Oh, you can grow a garden in buckets.
You can.
Yeah, you can grow vegetable plants in buckets. You know, if you want a tomato plant and you want some squash or some string beans, I was giving a lady advice on planting onion sets in a 3-gallon pot to put off on her patio because she lives in an apartment. She had no idea she could have onions in her patio pot because she likes to cut the green onions off and have them in salads and stuff. I said, well, here, let me show you how this is done. So there's just so many little questions that you can get answered when you go to a garden center or a farmer's market that has an experienced staff.
And if you get used to that food, I mean, the thing about
Absolutely.
organic is it's so much tastier.
Oh, the taste is second to none. You can't even imagine how much better it
And
tastes.
it's sweet almost, but you don't realize that most of the time because in grocery stores, they pick them when they're not ripe.
Right.
So they don't have all that flavor. And then they do interesting things to them to turn them the color they're supposed to be. Like gas them. They do lots of weird stuff. Yeah. And I'll say that, like gas, definitely for tomatoes.
Tomatoes, ethylene gas. And they put them they're literally are chambers. They're big garages, like warehouse shelving, and shut the doors and put gas on them. I mean, so that's literally what they do.
And I find that most people who say they don't like vegetables,
It's because they haven't had good vegetables.
they've never eaten real vegetables, right? They kind of eat this fabricated stuff. I mean, if you pick it when it's not ripe, nothing's good when it's not ripe.
No. When it's not time, it's not time.
No. And we had a vineyard, and if you pick the grapes before they're ripe, they're not good.
No, you can't eat them.
And even if they're table grapes, they're not good. And grapes are wonderful. Yeah. And, a juicy plum that's ripe, a juicy pineapple. People say when they go to Hawaii, there is such a difference when they go out in the, in Oahu to the Dole plantation and they pick them a pineapple and they cut it and they eat it and they cannot believe the difference.
Can't believe the difference.
And that's because what you get here is not ripe.
Or when you travel abroad and you go to Central America and you eat a cantaloupe or, like you said, a mango or something that's indigenous to their area that they are actually getting local, and you buy that and you eat it, it's just like having that Parker County peach or that East Texas tomato. There's only a certain amount of time that is at this peak flavor, and that's the memory that you get about it. And, that's why it's good to always eat local when you can. So.
And even the milk, which you have milk.
Yeah.
Yes. And I love the eggs that you have. I love buying them in the flat of 24. Yeah. And, it's cheaper to buy 24 than 12.
Yeah.
And so I love that. Now, you also have, honestly, you don't have a lot of, you go in the grocery store and you see every kind of dog food you can find.
No.
And you have very select dog food. You're very careful about what you carry.
My dogs are like my children, and I know that there's a lot of folks that that is their children, and you would not feed your children Happy Meals every day, so certainly you wouldn't feed dogs the same thing that you consider your children. So we actually carry Taste of the Wild, which is minimally processed, less ingredients. They also have grain-free varieties of that, and we also carry Victor. And Victor is recommended highly by people that have agility dogs, that have working dogs, or train their dogs for hunting. It has lots of protein, and it's a very good, viable food. And really works good on dogs that have trouble with allergies, food allergies, and things like that. So come by. We have samples of both of those. So if you're looking to change your dog food because your dog's either not happy, not eating, or their coat's not good, or
the coat, it makes such a difference. Yes.
It makes a total difference. So come by and get some samples and talk to me or talk to Valerie. My staff is real knowledgeable about the dog food and what works right, and how to teach your dog to eat the different types of dog food while you're trying to figure out what they like the best. Because, of course, at the end of the day, they're going to eat what they like.
They're going to eat that, but they have so many different flavors.
Yeah, there's so many different flavors.
I feed our dogs and cats Taste of the Wild. Yeah. And I often will say Call of the Wild. My husband will be like, Taste of the Wild. I'm like, okay, that's right. And they love it. Yeah. And they have their favorites, right? And I was so amazed that one of my dogs loves the salmon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dogs like salmon?
Yeah.
It's very strange. And so they had rated all the dog food in some magazine. And I went through and Taste of the Wild got 5 stars.
Absolutely.
And some of the ones that are so expensive that you think would be like top of the line didn't rate. They got 3 stars. I couldn't even believe it.
I've fed my dogs over the years stuff that came straight from the vet because I wanted to get the very best stuff for them, and thought I was feeding the very best that was out there. And when we bought the store last year, and I was like, dog food, I don't know about these dog foods. So I did some research, and same thing. I found that these were the best varieties to feed your dogs, and we sell tons of dog food. I'm amazed. I have people, and we also started selling the Victor and Taste of the Wild at North Richland Hills too.
Yes. Oh.
And so if you're either place, we have both of those dog foods available. So.
And if you feed them this kind of dog food or cat food, same thing with our cats, they don't go to the bathroom as much, and it doesn't smell or anything like that.
No, because there's no byproducts or fillers. You look at dog foods that you buy in box stores or even wholesale centers. They have fillers, they have wheat, they have rice in them, and they also have like corn. And corn's not digestible by any human being or dog, and so you get those big piles, and nobody wants to pick those up. So.
Well, and the natural just dissolves.
Just dissolves.
And so especially if you have a small yard, it's so much better. And it's funny what you say about corn. I'm having, if you saw the documentary King Corn, these 2 guys from Yale graduated and set out to do a documentary on corn, and they found that they were basically made mostly of corn. They've just graduated, so they're not that old, right? And so everything's made of corn. Everything's got corn syrup. So they did this whole documentary called King Corn, and it's awesome. So they're going to be on the 16th to talk about it. And then and it won all these awards. But you have no idea everything that corn is in. And it's not good for us to have that all the time. And so animals as well. So everything you were saying about animals and what I was saying about how much the bathroom time and all of that applies to people too.
It absolutely does.
And so when we put all that processed stuff in corn, everything in our bodies all the time, it does the same thing. It makes us sick. We don't last this long, and often we can get cancer just like dogs can. Because one of the things they say now is, I've had 2 vets say, almost all large dogs between the age of 10 and 12 get cancer. Yeah. And I was like, no, that's not right. How could all large dogs, like what?
Do you ever remember it has to be when you were little getting cancer?
No. So it has to be the food. It has to be the food. And so I started going, so then I changed the food because that terrified me. And then it gets you thinking about yourself, right? So our food, which is why we wanted to bring this to you today. And so you guys, we have a lot more tips for you and a lot more about her shop. She's got chocolate, lots of chocolate.
Chocolate's good for you too.
Chocolate's good for you. And so if I'm going down there, I am going for the groceries, of course, and everything, but then they've got the chocolate. So stay right here. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for life's answers? How about the meaning of true self? Can you really be a better person overnight? Well, good luck with that. Now, if you want to know more about this insane world and life we lead, tune in to Dr. Gary Bell's Absurd Psychology. You'll learn about how the brain operates under different psychological conditions. Some common sense. Heck, you might just actually learn something. Listen Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on Voice America Empowerment.
Life Solutions Coaching and Counseling in Fort Worth, Texas is a full-service wellness clinic providing individual, group, and family counseling, one-on-one coaching for life and wellness, and naturopathic treatments of medical massage therapy combined with essential oils to ensure you reach your health and wellness goals. Sessions are available in person or by phone. Get started on your new life today. Just call 817-232-1363 or go to LifeSolutionsCoachingandCounseling.com or email them at lifesolutionscc@yahoo.com.
Can you think of anybody who does not want a better life and to be a better person? Think about that for a second. Almost everyone wants to be better, but how does one go about doing that? One thing that is making people better every week is tuning in to the Self-Improvement Show with Dr. Irene Conlon. All real change comes from within, but many of us don't know where to find the information or guidance we need to make the changes that bring about the improvement. Most of us don't know how to work within. Listen Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on Voice America Empowerment. You are listening to Living Well with Ann Beal. We'd love to hear from you with comments and questions about the show. Please send us an email to ablivingwell@gmail.com. That's ablivingwell@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's show.
Welcome back. I'm Ann Beal, and we have continued talking with Annette Lee from Haslet Feed and Farmers Market about her shop and about all the wonderful things you can do with fresh food, all kinds of fresh food, vegetables, fruit, and the wonderful dog food. One thing that you did mention hay that you have at your place, Haslet Feed and Farmers Market is my favorite place in town because she has all of my favorite foods. You didn't mention the alfalfa that you have.
We have wonderful alfalfa. Most of you know that if you live in Texas, alfalfa is not grown in Texas.
No, it's not.
It's in New Mexico. Most of it comes out of New Mexico and California. But we have some beautiful green, fresh alfalfa, and I buy that again from a local hay supplier, and also we have horse feed too, that we buy locally. One of the feed mills is in Aledo, the other is here in Fort Worth, and we continue to keep that fresh. So we really keep our inventory real low so that we can always bring in the freshest. Usually weekly we get feed in.
Well, and I mentioned alfalfa because you talk differently since you've been in this store with the alfalfa. Right. So you're allergic to alfalfa, aren't you?
She's been trying to get me to come on the show for a year, and I haven't had the voice to do it because of alfalfa. But that rain yesterday really did help.
Yes, well, and so many, for animals, alfalfa is just wonderful. Talk about fattening them up, and it is so good for them. And you wonder what's comparable for people. Would it be kale?
I would think kale. I'm a big fan of kale. I usually eat kale every single day.
And alfalfa is so beautiful. It's that dark green. And the horses go crazy.
They do. If you get a horse going on alfalfa, they'll never go back to the Bermuda. They like the alfalfa.
So you have to be careful with that.
You have to be careful.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I know that you have a lot of events that happen at your store. Right. And, of course, I mentioned the pumpkins. I mean, I remember the day I drove by, and there were pumpkins just everywhere. Wow. And it was orange, and it was just gorgeous with all the flowers. You are so good at marketing.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you put outside your store the seasons so that it draws you in. So right now, I'm so excited. Now, not everyone else maybe is as excited, but I'm excited because here in Texas, we're going to have an early spring.
We're going to have an early spring. I'm looking at weather forecasts. I don't see any, other than yesterday, any cold weather coming over the next month. So that being said, our local Texas greenhouses are filled to the brim with beautiful spring flowers and hanging baskets and bedding plants. And so we've brought in a little bit of that already. You kind of throw the dice out there. You never know how the weather's going to treat you. But again, buying local has to do with plants too. Our plants come from local small mom and pop greenhouses. All of my greenhouses that I buy my plants from within a 100-mile radius of my stores. And they do not sell to box stores. They're not mass produced in mega greenhouses up in Oklahoma or in South Texas. So, it's nice to know where your plant material's coming from, and you know that it's grown specifically. The varieties are specifically designed for our region,
right,
for where we're gardening.
Which is why that's so important,
yeah.
right? So if you ordering even vineyard plants from California, well, we are not Californian, right? And so ordering plants can be that problem.
Right.
But also with all the genetic altering of seeds now, I mean, to get gardening plants, you really don't want to get genetically altered. So this is that whole GMO thing.
Whole GMO thing.
Mm-hmm. And so, you don't want that. And when they've genetically altered them, it's to include the pesticide in the seed. And I don't want to eat pesticide, so you want to get it locally and make sure that it's not altered.
Right.
And it is, so you have to look.
We do a lot of heirloom transplants, especially tomatoes. Actually, tomatoes are coming Friday. So we do I probably have about 25 different types of heirloom tomatoes that are coming in. Heirloom seeds. Seeds that all of my seeds are non-GMO seeds, so the seeds that we sell in the store are like that too. But there's other things that you need to be doing right now in your yard to get ready for spring. It's time to put your pre-emergent on. If your grass is green, it is not grass, it's weeds.
Right.
So it's time to apply pre-emergents and post-emergents so that when the grass does come and it's time to fertilize in another 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have all those weeds starting to go away and making room for a nice green lawn.
So the post-emergent is after the grass comes in?
Yeah, after the grass comes in so that those weeds don't continue to grow.
I need both then,
yeah.
Yes.
Well, we do have a product out there that is specifically designed for pre- and post-emergent, and it's a Weed Beater Complete, and I sell a lot of that. And I've tried things over the years. I've tried different methods, and this one seems to work better than anything that I've used in the past.
Well, and just to know that if you can do that now, it saves you so much work in the future. And your lawn looks beautiful.
Your lawn looks beautiful. We also have organic methods. We have the corn gluten, we have the dried molasses, and we have the alfalfa and humate mixes to put on your lawn after you've killed the weeds off to bring in that beautiful green just in time for our early Easter this year. So you'll have lots of hanging baskets and stuff coming up. In the summertime, again, fresh produce, local produce is prevalent. We've got the great peaches. In the fall, again, the pumpkins and the mums and the peppers and everything to take you through the fall. But at Christmas, we have fresh cut Christmas trees as well. North Carolina Fraser firs.
They're just beautiful outside.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. And you even with that do a lot of decorative kind of greenery for Christmas that you can find. And we bought a, what do you call it? A fire thing for outside. What do you call those things? Chiminea. Like I can't even remember the name. Chiminea. Yeah. Right? And so just a lot of wonderful things there. Normally, it's such a combination. Yeah. And I do know getting your garden ready. So one of the best ways to do that right now is to start preparing your soil.
Right. Preparing your soil. We've got compost. We've got the cow manures. We've got the alfalfas. We have everything you need to start in getting your spring raised beds. Raised beds are always best because there's less weeding, and nobody wants to be standing behind a tiller. You don't need anything to garden but your 2 hands.
And it's hard to pull weeds all the time. And so it is easier if you can raise it up. And it's not that hard. I mean, you don't have to have it super high. But one of the things we did was start putting compost. Well, start putting our vegetables, like our, stuff that, our food besides meat and dairy in the garden. Yeah, and I've done that for a few months.
And eggshells and tea bags.
Yes.
Yeah. So, putting all that in and just turning that once a week and getting it wet and just letting nature break it down.
I had not thought about tea bags.
Yeah. Tea bags. Tea bags. If you make iced tea, coffee
grinds.
Coffee grinds.
Tea bags. And you mix it all in. And so I've had it there in my both, because even though we got a smaller place now, I'm just like tired of buying fruits and vegetables. I'm like, okay, I'm buying potted fruit trees for my back porch. Yeah. And then I have 3 areas that I'm going to plant I'm going to plant garden, and I have on a strawberry hanging thing. There's so many things you can do.
So many things. We've got the strawberries in already. Citrus trees, little miniature citrus, like with the little tangerines or limes and lemon trees that you can put on your patio. Bring those in for the winter.
That's right.
Put them back out, and you'll have your own limes and lemons. So,
and the peppers that you had, well, you had the decorative pepper plant I had never seen. I just loved it. It was red and purple.
Yeah.
One of my friends actually bit a pepper off that. It was very hot. And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah. What is it about pepper? They need to get
little tiny pepper. You didn't think that was going to be hot.
When they're red." I'm like, "Ah." But yeah, the pepper. I mean, they're just wonderful. I have fallen in love with peppers, and I didn't used to like them.
I love them. As I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate the heat of the pepper and the flavor of the pepper. So, and I think maybe that's a menopausal thing for me, or I don't know. But
my daughter says that I lost taste buds. That you just don't realize, Mom, how hot they are, because I just love. Now I'm not sweating and all that stuff. That crazy people. They can get them hot. Right. So there's just water. Let's talk about the chocolate for a minute. Where do you get all that?
Well, we have a local place in Fort Worth that we get some of it, and then we have a chocolatier in Chicago that is a kosher chocolatier. And I'll tell you, there are malted milk balls that have 1/4 of an inch of milk chocolate wrapped around those dogs, and they are so good, so delicious. And we have turtles. We have chocolate-covered almonds, which are my favorite. They do panned items. They do the big clusters and stuff, too. We also have, praline pecans, and they use Texas pecans to do this.
Now, she said praline. Did you hear that, praline? Are you from Texas?
No, I am originally from North Carolina.
The only way I knew that, because I thought you were from Texas because you have an accent, right? But my family is originally from Pennsylvania and Virginia. So as soon as I heard that, I thought, you have to be from the Northeast.
East Coast.
Yep.
East Coast.
Praline. Yeah, people down here, praline.
Yeah, praline. And
listen to us making fun of other people.
Pecans.
Our accent. Yes. And so there are so many wonderful things there that you have.
Absolutely.
And different dressings that you have, just so many natural things.
We have jams and jellies. We have a local company that does salsas and pickles and stuff for us. And we also carry a full line of Mrs. Renfro's, which is Fort Worth's own Mrs. Renfro's salsas. I think we're probably only one of a few stores that carries their full line, because they're our neighbors up in North Richland Hills. They live right up the street from our store. And
you have natural chips to go with those salsas.
And they are local too. Cardona Foods in Fort Worth. We carry their chips, and so we got some. And we make our own salsa too. We have a fresh salsa that we make in store, and we use our own vine ripe tomatoes and peppers and everything, and we make that year round, and it is phenomenal. And if you mention that, come on in. I'll give you a free salsa. You need to
come on in, get a free salsa. That is really good. They also have the canned. If you know canned, really they're jarred. But when you say you can vegetables and can jellies and all that, it's really jarred.
Jarred.
It's funny they call it canning.
Pickles.
Yeah. So many wonderful things. So thank you so much for that. And the great thing about going to these local places, and I'm sure you have one in your town.
Absolutely.
And it just is. It lets you kind of have a different experience of just natural foods that people are working to bring to you. And honestly, people want this. Yeah. And even if you're in New York City, they have these wonderful places. They have gardens on rooftops.
Right.
They've been gardening on the East Coast. In these cities, they're starting to garden in the back of pickup trucks and in the back of dump trucks. Okay, they're starting to make any area for gardening.
Community gardens.
It's really wonderful. Yeah. And so we just encourage you to try a little garden at your house. Even if you get a wine bucket or
a
wine barrel or anything, and start trying to garden tomatoes or whatever kind of thing you like. And maybe you don't like a lot of vegetables, you just like some things.
Definitely grow what you like, because you will not eat it if you don't like it.
Yes.
So, and it's a lot more you care for it more if you like it. So
yes. So you should probably plant something like, if you don't like Brussels sprouts, then don't do that, right? My favorite is lettuce, all the kinds of lettuce, because you chop them off the top and then they keep growing.
They keep growing.
Yes. So I just thank you for being on and giving us these
welcome.
tools.
Thank you for having me.
And helping people understand the importance of these local shops.
Right.
And so we just want to encourage you, Haslet Feed and Farmers Market. Mm-hmm. And in North Richland Hills, it's North Richland Hills Farmers Market.
On Davis.
Yeah. And just to get by. Now, how would they reach you for questions or to get your store?
To get the store, they can either email at nrhfm@sbcglobal.net.
That was a lot of letters. NRHFM.
Farmers Market.
Yes. At
sbcglobal.net.
Awesome.
And Haslet is hasletfeed@att.net.
Okay. And you have a Facebook?
I do. Like us on Facebook for North Richland Hills Farmers Market or Haslet Feed and Farm Market. We've got some fun stuff. We always put crazy stuff on our Facebook pages.
Put crazy stuff on your Facebook. Well, and the beautiful pictures I've seen.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Now, how about a Twitter? Do you have a Twitter?
I do not.
Okay, you've got to get you a Twitter.
I do need to, what do they call it? Tweet.
Yeah. At Haslet Feed. Well, because I love to tweet. And I didn't used to. I would laugh every time somebody said, "Do you tweet?" I was like, I could see Tweety Bird going. I was like, what? It's so crazy. But so if you could get a Twitter.
Okay. I'll do that.
So maybe at Haslet Feet. Just my suggestion. So you guys get by her store if you can,
Right.
or in North Richland Hills, or your local market.
Your local farmer.
Or your local farmer.
Yeah.
Just look for them. Google it. You can find them. And just thanks for tuning in. If you would like to reach me, go to ablivingwell@gmail.com. Or you could, if you want to coach or counsel with me, contact Life Solutions Coaching and Counseling.com or our phone, 817-232-1363. Now, do you have a phone they can reach you at, Annette?
Yes. The store phone number at Haslet is 439-0580.
And that's 817.
Mm-hmm. And the phone number at North Richland Hills is 817-428-7075.
So you guys get in touch with her or just go by.
Go by.
And and I love essential oils, so I'm just so glad you have them there. So a lot of wonderful things you can get. And if you happen to be in Saginaw, go by and see Sunshine Herbs for your supplement needs and say hello to Dr. Tiller and his wonderful staff to meet all your supplement needs. And they have wonderful water. I just have to say that because I water from them all the time. So you guys, thanks for tuning in to Living Well. And we look forward to having you on next week with the guys from King Corn. And listen in, and you guys have a great week and live well.
Thank you again for joining us. Living Well with Ann Beal airs live every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. We can't wait to see you again next week.
Thanks again for listening to the preceding program, brought to you on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericaempowerment.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the preceding program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.